California too. I mean, we've got no ICU beds. ICU beds are the 40% of ICU beds are filled with COVID. And like down in LA, and my aunt and uncle still live down there, down in LA. Yeah, there's no hospital beds. I mean, we have zero capacity for ICU, and the new strain is it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, my son is a tech guy at a hospital in San Diego, and he did get the vaccine. He got it twice. And my daughter's a doctor in San Diego, so she was vaccinated.
Nice.
So I don't know, but my son goes into the rooms where they have the COVID patients because he keeps the computers running. So, who knows? But,
Wow.
he's young. Well, let's see, he's a lot younger than I. So we'll see.
Well, we need herd immunity, and that doesn't happen until most of us get vaccinated. So
Yeah.
we need to keep our heads to the grindstone, keep doing what we're doing, and you know, you see these arguments of masks don't work, but there was an interesting bit of news yesterday or the day before where um, doctors are realizing that this year the regular flu is practically non-existent.
Right.
And and the reason why is that? I mean, uh, there haven't been any necessarily more people than usual getting their flu shots. Um, it is the fact that we have been masking and washing our hands. Yeah, the behavioral change has really almost eliminated the flu this year because we're we're not spreading germs. The flu does not fly around on its own. It gets passed from person to person. So that's an obvious indication that masks and this hygiene, new
Very
hygiene
true. And I haven't
is
gotten a
working.
single cold this year, and I normally have at least one or two.
Yeah,
Nothing too major, but not a one this year.
there you go.
Yeah. Anybody in the medical professional understands how, like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a medical professional really to understand, like, hello, sniffle, sneezing, and breathing. It's a respiratory illness. We know how it's spread. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, yeah, masks will help. They're not going to prevent it. I don't want to be next to people, even with masks on, that I know have COVID. Like, you wouldn't want to stand next to them because it's not going to protect you. But you also know that, yeah, it's going to help prevent the spread. And anybody who doesn't believe that, I would just say, if this disease were more deadly, like if it were like Ebola or something, nobody would be complaining about wearing the masks. They'd know very well that, yeah, the masks help reduce the spread.
Well,
Oh,
the old saying goes, you can't help stupid.
yeah, that's true. So all we can do is be advocates for, using virtual spaces. You guys, I have, I don't know if either of you guys know this. You guys have heard, Caltech has bought an island in Second Life. They're launching for students this semester.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
and so that's huge. Like, Caltech is like a big school that's like, so that's a nice shot in the arm for us about the usefulness of virtual worlds. The guy who's spearheading it, he's been obviously a longtime user and advocate and whatever, but he got funding and approval and all that stuff. And he's talking about, and he teaches astrophysics. His name's Curious George in Second Life. And so it's launching, like, they just beta tested with some students over the holidays, like a handful of students to give them. But the long and the short of it is they're focused on having students have a place to come in world to socialize. It's not about like, oh, we have to teach using virtual worlds. No, people want places to hang out and talk to each other. So, when he designed the world he has, he's going to put any classrooms or anything else, they're going to put in skyboxes and the building and everything else up in the air. Down on the ground, it's like waterfalls, beaches, beautiful places to hang out, coffee shop, bicycles to ride around, so that students can get together and just hang out, talk about their schoolwork, talk about their problems. So I just thought that was really interesting.
Curious how they're
Absolutely.
going
Yeah.
to security issues.
There's some workarounds. Well, yeah, there's some workarounds with that. The island is not open to the public. You have to be a member of their group to get in there,
But
and they
then
have a
what about the
login thing.
public going into the non-secure? I mean, the students going into non-secure areas. Do they care?
They have a way that, and I don't know how this works, the technical side of it. I'd like to learn because I think this is good to know. I think well, there is a way. They said something about this. I just don't know the technical side of it. But when the students create Second Life accounts, now of course they can work around this. Once a student gets into Second Life and goes, oh, you know what? I want to get beyond this place. I want to go to other places. I'm going to create a second avatar with my personal email account and come in here and like go look at porn. That's not gonna. You can't stop adults from doing what they're gonna do. Stupid stuff. But so it when it creates the avatars, it's limited to they got only content that's rated general. No, they pre-screen the content in the avatars, and they can't go elsewhere, anywhere that's not rated G or moderate. They can't go to the anything rated R or whatever. So yeah, so
One hopes they got a deal.
yeah, I wonder about that too. Like, but anyways, so I think it's just good for us in virtual worlds that if there's one more, thing this semester that's like, yeah, we're doing this because, students, everybody feels socially isolated and they want options to socialize. It's like, well, this is the solution that works for everybody. No special equipment needed.
Ask you, I mean, do you think that this is signaling a little bit of a paradigm shift at Linden over academic use and possibly pricing?
I wish. I don't know the politics of Linden. Other people like Sidearm might know more, and other people that have been in Second Life in particular for a long time probably know more. But you'd think so. If I were at working for Linden Labs, I'd be like, I would have said this a year ago, right, especially right at lockdown. Oh, we need to retool everything and support education. We need to set up a whole separate thing that protects and takes all the X-rated stuff and puts it entirely put away where you can't access it.
Right.
There should be something special for education. You
It's
think
almost
it'd
like
make
they're
it a
leaving
priority.
money on the table if they don't, it takes away the sleep
They are
factor.
leaving money on the table. There are if they could do that for us, Eileen, take away the sleaze factor, just make it just go away. So somebody else can create a second account and go in there and do that. That's fine. But educators want something that they can just do out of the box and not have to worry about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like a separate portal, like a separate login, right? Create an account and it's an educator, it's a special for educators account or something.
Right.
And they could just set that up on their end, it seems, but
Yeah, it does. That's a K-12, I agree with you. But for a higher academic use, I mean, I think Verbella maybe have given them a bit of a scare and a run for their money.
yeah, maybe.
They used to have, the Second Life initially did have discounts for education, and they had a K-12 version. I forget what they called it. But all of this went away in around 2010, which
Yeah.
is when I had to back out because everything got pricey. They took away the educator's discount. And the problem's always been that it's fine because you can show up and use it, and if you've got a professor who's using it, but it was cost prohibitive in something like Empire State College where students wanted to make their own islands. So there were some other problems. And then they had the lockdown that you couldn't bring in content. So that's some of the restrictions there with Second Life. But it would be nice. And I think I went to that meeting today and I was just mostly listening. But I think that it will be good. But the problem I have though right now is, even with this Marion Island, I force people in. In the beginning courses, they have to come in. So they know how to get in. I say over and over, it's open for use. But I think unless you give them something, you have to kind of bring something in for them to kind of want to come in.
Yeah.
So my fear is that, it'll be a nice place, but unless they feel motivated, and if you've got younger students, they're already in all these other things. So, I think the challenge I have is, okay, I've got this space, my students even know how to get into it. but do they come back and use it without, a huge amount of work logistically setting up things? And Scott,
Right.
you were working with Diane on setting up something. It wasn't virtual reality, but did that become self-perpetuating, or did you have to keep on
I think it's
pushing it?
kind of in stasis at the moment. I know Diane had some setbacks of her own to deal with, and COVID, and of course the budget got gutted. The site is still, as far as I know, operational, but I have not seen Boo in terms of any activities or pushed events, so to speak. Because last semester we really were trying to push it to as many people, and we did have some lovely success on our Friday afternoon chats and presentations. But I think life kind of got a little bit complicated. Yeah, it's bringing on and also scheduling the events and who wants to present. And as you know perfectly well, yeah, it's all too easy, especially as complicated as life is. Yeah, we had great social events, I have to tell you, because it concurred right with the beginning of the lockdown. So a lot of us were going a little bit nutty, and by Friday afternoon, we just needed some, you know, bring a glass of wine and sit on Zoom and crack jokes. Yeah, and talk. I
Um,
hate this.
so yeah, oh, I had something to say and now it's kind of escaping me. Other than I had a New Year's Eve party in Mozilla Hubs, which was fun, really cool. Um, and Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. As far as like bringing people in and having something for them to learn how to do, at some point in 2021, I have an idea for. I'm glad because seriously, I'll send you guys the. I'll show you the video. Let me grab the video because I have this like 2 minute video. Because it was awesome. I mean, my friends. There was only a few people showed up. It was my sister and a few people, but um, none of them were our colleagues or whatever who've been in virtual space. My sister's a gamer. She's been in virtual spaces,
Civilians.
but not VR. Yeah, they're just regular people. My friends who they'd never been in Mozilla Hubs. And it was like, oh my God, yeah, so it was fun. But I wanted to mention that I have this big win. I am excited about something I accomplished that made me feel really good. And I could do a like a training for some, for some event or whatever on making a non-player character. Because I finally got so a little tiny bit of success at Limeland. I'm working on this, the big thing for the cruise ship, the extra credit.
Oh yeah.
The course starts on January 20th. I'm like, I'm not done. I have a lot of work still to do. But one of the things I was trying to do is, yeah, I found something where, because you have these little static ones, right? These little static, person standing here. And I was like, I've seen like moving ones or whatever, and there's
Hmm.
different ways to make them, but I found something, I can't remember where I got it, but it's free to share or whatever. But you basically just so I need to write up the little like tutorial, like here's how you do it. And I'd walk people through and show them, but you dress yourself like however you want. So I created an
Right.
avatar for my cruise ship as the junior assistant purser, Miss Amania. And you drop a note card. You get a special note card that tells this is the character, that how you're dressed is going to be the non-player character. And then you drop the note card in this prim, and then you click on it, and poof, she appears. And so it's you with your animation going. So I'm standing right next to the avatar that I created. She looks just like me, and my animation, breathing and kind of standing there. You know how you gesture you got your AO going. That's all I had. I didn't. You
Right.
could make yourself dancing or whatever. But just my AO. I just wanted it to look like a person was standing there. And you guys, I'm so excited about this. I'm such a geek. Um, I was like, I want her to talk. I don't want her to just give a note card, right? And I was like, there's got to be an easy way. It is. It's this easy. You guys, I just made a little audio clip of myself. I just pitch changed the voice a little bit. A little audio clip. And you upload it just like a picture. And you drop the audio file into the prim. And you I could show you guys if you want to check this out. You click
Yeah,
on
no,
her,
I'd love to see that.
shows up. And the audio is spatial too. So if you're far away, you don't hear her talking. So I can have her in different parts and you can have different characters. So I'm just super excited so when people arrive at Limeland at the cruise ship for this thing, yeah, you know what? I meant to check on her Sally's I've been to her one of her that Multiverse Masters, and I remember looking at that and going, "Oh my gosh, she's got all this interesting stuff. She's done all this. I need to come back and learn from her." So I just to me virtual not enough, but
You know, the last time I was on Sally's World, she had everything scaled back. She put away all the fun stuff. It was just a
oh
large
no,
open plain, yeah.
oh
And she had that Roman warrior that used to chase you through one of the back fields.
oh
That was kind
wow.
of interesting. I've tried a few NPCs and they totally messed up Shadowglen, and
Uh
Elon had me delete them.
oh. Oh, what did
There
you?
was,
Oh,
I don't know. So I've been a little leery about trying them since then.
I
Um,
could break something. I don't. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just, but it
yeah,
works.
make sure you back up your world first. Actually,
Okay.
Eileen, that time that you guys came to the island and I couldn't speak was after I had been messing with the NPCs. I deleted them all, but NPCs leave a residual scripting command that you cannot delete. It's really tricky sometimes.
How do you guys back up your world? Do you do it? You don't do it from in here on Firestorm. I
No,
didn't
you
see a
do it from
backup.
the website.
From
Oh,
from
I need to go
Kitely.
look at that.
Yeah, from
I'm gonna
Kitely
go. I'm
Manage
gonna look at that
Worlds.
right now.
Yeah,
Kylie manage
you
world.
can either store it or you can download it as an OER,
Right.
and just re-upload it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna log in right now. I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, I was just there. It's still there, but I am afraid. Like, oh gosh, what if I did? I don't want to break it.
Well, I had Elon come
Yeah,
in and restate
and
some
I
things.
export mine a lot. And when it exports, it saves the whole file. It's called an export. And somewhere in my documentation too, but you're right, you go in from the website. The thing too is they give you a second file that tells you any problems. Be sure you
Yeah.
open that. And I've had trouble with scripts also from things like horses and camels that,
Yeah,
make sound.
it's those
Sometimes the
hypergrid
sound
Oh,
and
scripts
stuff.
don't always jive with Kitely. And occasionally an LSL script can be problematic too. I've
so
noticed
you
that.
just click on export the world, and oh, it is just gonna give me an OER file.
Yep. And then
Okay,
it'll
well
ask if you want to
I'm
download it, and you have 24 hours to download it or whatever.
oh,
It takes
okay,
no memory.
nice. I'm
I
doing
think
that
you
right
under
now.
files. You go
Yep.
into manage files, you'll see you can export. And I import export all the time. I'm setting up some files for the next round of courses because not everybody takes the full course that I have to make an island, but some of them want to do it. And so I've created some small short courses and I created a whole island where I just put stuff in it. And it takes longer than you think to put a lot of stuff out. And as I kept on putting things in, actually, if you go to Marion Test, you'll see. And I dumped a lot of NPCs there, and I did find a lot of crashes.
Oh, is
So,
Marion
Mm.
still
you
up?
know, it's a conflict with the different scripts, and I'm not smart enough to know all the scripts.
I loved
So
your old Marion test that had the palace and the elephant and the tiger and
yes.
whatever it was a
Oh
couple
yeah.
years. Is it still up, or what do you have up now? I thought it was all here.
I think I put one that I called. Well, I'm calling it stuff. I'll show you what I'm trying to do is get people up to speed quickly. The problem with Kitely is you can't do IARs. You can't upload inventory items separately,
Yeah.
Yeah,
which,
that's a bummer.
yeah, and that's why it's $20. Years ago, I was using something called Dreamweaver Metaverse, and it lets you do that. It was twice as much money. And I always
Yeah.
have to think of what students can come in and afford. Month by
Mm.
month, they have to pay the $20.
Well,
So they have to learn how to scavenge. So what I always tell them to do is upload a bunch of islands, and Outworlds has a whole bunch. Find, find things that you like you upload the pirate island, and
mm,
you find a theme of pirate, put those in your inventory. So that's the best way to get things. But people often don't do that. So then they're looking for items. And you can go to Linda Kelly, but her stuff is what they call old school by now. So it
yeah.
takes up a lot more space. It doesn't use meshes. So, her
Mm.
stuff, will kind of burden your island with a lot of overhead. So I was just trying to get a quick thing for students. So I use Marion Test as my island. I just play with it. But Scott, I am putting some of my old islands. The one that I had, be careful with terraforming, because the original Marion Test I had just morphed over time. I terraformed a lot. It got full of glitches, almost impossible to get them out.
That's
you
why
know,
I'm
where
so afraid to export Shadow Glen because I mean, I baked it all in, but I'm
did you
so
do it? Yeah.
terrified of what's going to happen.
Yeah. You can pay. Kitely has a thing where it comes to about $1 a month, where they call what do they call it? Copying your island,
Hmm.
and they charge you either every day or every week, and it looks a lot, but it really doesn't come out to much. So that way, you always have a safe backup. So I've done that at times too, but after a while, the charges keep on building up, and I'm paying $40 a month for this one, and it's out of my own pocket. By the time I got Empire State College to pay, it wouldn't be worth the hassle. But but I have to try to keep it inexpensive for students. So
Mm.
anyway, just for all of you, you're ESC builders, and I tried to go in because Scott's going to do some terraforming. I did save the island before. I said if it gets all messed up, I can bring up this island again. Um, but you're ESC builders, and I can't find what they did years back. The original stuff came from Second Life, and Second Life had the ability to parcel out sections. I don't
Mm.
understand this fully, but they have something called bar islands, so it's really just one big island, and it makes it almost impossible to put different sections and give them different traits. So I wasn't able to
Yeah.
figure out, yeah. So I turned, I could either turn on terraforming for everybody or for nobody, and so I found something in the ESC builder group. I think I made it so you guys can go in and turn terraforming on and then turn it off. I think you have that control. I don't know if
Okay, I
Scott
haven't
got a
tried it
chance to
yet.
try
I
it.
will.
Yeah, but if not, I'll turn terraforming on. And Scott wants to get some neat stuff for next week. So,
Yeah.
and
I
in the
just want to dig a
meantime,
hole.
yeah, if the students if the students mess it up, I have the other version to bring up again. I'd rather people experimented than didn't
Yeah,
try.
it looks like terraforming's on for me.
Oh, good. You
That's a
used to
little
be able to.
scary, yeah.
Yeah, I have ruined that's how the other one got so glitchy. I
You
terraformed
know,
it
I'll
too
tell
much.
you, just everybody, I went ahead and sprung for the. There's a terraforming tool in the Kitely market that allows you to have a little bit more control. It's like a flattening prim.
Oh.
Set the size of it, much like you set the terraforming grid size, but basically you're setting up. Oh, you got that too? It's an actual prim that you can scale up as big or as small as you want, and it's really good for smoothing out hills. I discovered it
Oh,
does.
nice.
Yes, there is a learning curve to it. Yes, it's not completely perfect. However, I was also like burying passageways. So you wanted a nice
Mm.
rectangular channel to
Oh,
bury it in.
I should have gotten that and learned how to use it before I did all the work manually.
Yeah, it worked well for that and for, quickly smoothing things out because you'd be putting a channel underground and then I'd have a mountain in the middle of my hallway and I'd have to try and
Mm.
figure. Yeah, it was cheap, but it was, it was fun. I played with it for quite a while. But yeah, so interesting week,
Mm.
at least.
Yeah, so you guys, well, Scott, you've got, and I know Al, you've probably the same thing, right? I mean, you've got multiple locations, Eileen, so you can kind of toggle back between here and Marion Test. That's a different, like, region, right? I just have one
Yeah,
region.
I
I
have
wish I
two.
could
I
just,
own both
yeah,
islands,
Yeah,
yeah, so
first
it's,
so I pay for
test is
both.
a dump island. It's everything.
yeah, okay. Yeah, mine is the same, and I wish you could, yeah, section out and say, do you guys know if there's any way, well, I guess it's just, you control the building permissions by, a group, and then at least you're not letting the general public build. I don't want to let general public, but,
You
um,
cannot control regions or parcels the way that you can in Second Life. With Kitely, it's an all or nothing island wide.
yeah, that's a bummer. I was hoping I could just have a sandbox like up in the sky and just say the building area is at 3,000 meters and not below or something like that, but oh well.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see. Um,
Mm.
so next week, just I have I'm putting together just a quick little presentation on working with SketchUp to create simple functional prims. I mean, the real trick,
Ooh.
just in a nutshell here, is that you cannot create anything too complicated in SketchUp and import it into Kitely.
Mm.
You really are better served by using the native building tools and saving SketchUp for those elements that you just cannot create using the tools here in Second Life, because the tools in Second Life are optimized to load as quickly as possible. The physics all work on them very cleanly. When you start messing with importing things into our DAE files, Collada files,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Kitely, or even into Second Life, the physics, especially if it's something that you want to walk on or under or whatever like that, can start to get real top heavy, and Kitely does not support anything excessively complex. It's one of the reasons they manage to function the way they do. Yes, so the buildings have vertices inside them, and what you're essentially building, I mean, I was explaining this to Jonathan Selhavy last semester. He was building a lovely building. He built a Hojo's, which was hilarious, right down to the menus and the salt shakers. He wanted to import it into Second Life, and I kept telling him, it's not going to work. You cannot import a building into OpenSim. It's not going to res, it's going to collapse, it's going to cause all kinds of glitches. You have to import the doorway. You have to import the ceiling. And then assemble it, which is why they provide the sandbox here in Kitely. So you can assemble your builds here, save them, and then you can, yeah, it won't work either. It's just way too, I mean, it's detailed. And for SketchUp, he did a beautiful job. I mean, he really got into the program, but it's not a one-to-one translation going into virtual reality.
Wait, are you talking about Sketchfab or SketchUp?
SketchUp.
Oh, okay. I've not ever worked
SketchUp,
with that.
there's an open source version of it that's free, and that's
Okay.
perfectly fine for students, because all you're really going to build for students are doorways. Remember that there's no such thing as a window in virtual reality. Windows
Mm.
are actual textures with a PNG file with the alpha channel dropped out, so it's clear.
Right.
A window, unless you're going to jump through a window, you don't need a window in Second Life. All you need are doorways that you're going to walk through, or an odd shape. And even then, you have to be careful, because the more complex the shape gets, the more triangles, the more vertices it takes, and you really need to break it down simpler and simpler and simpler. And you'll see next week. I've got a couple of things just for comparison. I just tried building
Cool.
some complex things and importing them in, and they look really cool, but you can't walk on them. You get stuck inside, you jam up. It's a learning curve, to say the least.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to that as well.
So, yeah, God willing, if I get another 10 minutes to myself this week. Other than that, where are we going after this?
You mean like our next meeting in February,
Yeah.
or what do you mean?
Up next here for INP, and then do we have any thoughts moving forward about? I know there was that event, Sidearm. They were having that in Verbella tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I think,
I have X number of hours to the day.
yeah. I was going to mention something probably should talk about at some point. I'm keeping an eye on let me see here. It's too many emails. Virtual World's Best Practices in Education conference, presentations. Deadline for proposals is on the 13th. God, that's soon. And then iLearn is coming up as well. So, and let's see, when is that one? I got to get I'm going to do probably a proposal for an immersive, some kind of show and tell tour at the Amani cruise ship in Limeland. But I wondered if we wanted to coordinate something to talk about INP specifically, or plans, or a panel presentation, or I don't know, but just looking at the dates, we'll have to, and that brings me to, have we heard anything about educators in VR 2021? I haven't seen a call for anything.
No. And the answer to your question, Eileen, Verbella, there's no charge to join, as I recall. But the charge is essentially, what is it, $1 a person? Roughly, I think Diane and I looked at it at one point. If you're going to host an event,
Oh, it's expensive.
yeah, it's like, well, maybe no, it's more than that. Maybe it's $10 a person for the
Oh,
number
it's
of people that you want to host.
oh, it's more than that. I mean, that's the number they probably charge. Yeah, they charge per person, but also
Yeah,
there's the
minimum
base fee.
$100 a month, and that's for virtually nothing. No pun
For how
intended.
much?
$100 a month, and
Oh,
it's
at
it's
least. Yeah,
nothing at all. And then I think an event the size of I learned last year was upwards of $5,000.
yeah. I talked to them for the event I did in Mozilla Hubs for the College of Business with that big thing where I had 43 rooms because I was like, I wonder what this would cost if we did it there because that would have been great. It would have started at $1,700, which of course I didn't have the budget for. And I was like, for like an hour long event.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
No,
like,
it's
yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
yeah.
Yeah, Bella's beautiful, but
And it's a nice interface. I have to say they've done a good job
yeah,
with it.
yep. The only thing that we're missing is basically is well, I think with the simplified interface, like yeah, really all it is it's a baby interface. So that's screen gate. Is it screen gate? Scene gate. Okay, scene gate, and then having people standing at the landing zone saying, "Welcome to the Second Life. Welcome to Kitely. Welcome to Limeland." You know what I mean? Let me show you around or something. I don't know. I do like it. Don't get me wrong, but
Well, back to what you're saying, though, I think a presentation on the part of INP would not be a bad idea if there is a suitable venue.
hmm well, I just want to. I want to promote. I mean, I think we need to. We want to. I want to network more broadly and get more people to know about us and what we're doing here in Kitely and other virtual environments. And yeah, so I learn is a conference that's not focused on virtual worlds, and so yeah. Yeah, so I
Well,
think with that one for sure, we need to think about presenting at that. And educators in VR, I really feel strongly that that was one that we definitely want. We don't want to miss it. I don't
I'm
see
going to
anything on their
splurge
website.
go. That's going to be my New Year's gift to myself. So
To
I'll
go
be
what? To go to what?
go to Educators in VR. I'm going to get an Oculus Go.
Yeah.
I'll get
Oh,
the set.
you don't need it. You can use it. Yeah. Well, you need a desktop. You can just you can go on a desktop, but you have a Mac,
Well,
right?
I'm supposedly the new viewer. There is a viewer compatible that's gone beyond the beta set. I just haven't had the courage to download it yet because I've got a lot going on, and if I screw up my new
Mm,
computer, I'm going to be pissed. But I will get
yeah.
to it. Try. Um, but when are the deadlines? I've seen some of the conference requests, and frankly, I just haven't had the brain power to focus on deadlines. Has iLearn announced any call for papers or call for presentations yet?
Yeah. Yeah. I learned. Let me see here. I have it on my. I learned. Where is it? Oh, for heaven's sakes. I learn conference. Yeah, so the dates, I should just forward you this, guys. I will. I'll just forward this to you. Uh, Main round submission deadlines, all submission types welcome, the 15th of this month.
Hmm.
So I'm going to just forward this email. I've had it for a little while. Let me see here.
I think it's
Forward.
applying for a panel presentation as a group like you did last year that I kind of barged in on.
Mm, Whatever you guys want to do. Let's see.
That was the group that you were up there with the IC contingent.
Who are you talking to? I'm sorry, I'm on my email.
Because Eileen did a dynamite presentation last year at iLearn. And I
Yeah.
think,
I did an overview of just how long we've been in VR spaces, but there are so many ways to take it if we really want to
yeah, I
focus
think
on
it's
INP.
worthwhile if you can pull together the submission blurb that we can get up there as an INP group to discuss everything that your students have done collectively and the direction we're trying to take it. And I mean, that's where we picked up Sidearm.
Yeah. Plus, I'm going to
Um,
have to leave at 7:30, so if I miss things, could you send them to me? But
Yeah.
just in terms of what we're doing now, Scott owns the month of January, he's going to give me a blurb so I can start
Oh,
inviting
yeah,
people.
yeah.
Okay.
Bethany, you own the month of February. I
Yep.
own March. I might be working with Sidearm on some of those things. We haven't talked, but I think he might be kind of the guest speaker. Then I think Sean was going to, or, well, I'll have to check. We were going to just keep on cycling.
Yeah.
But we really still have to talk about kind of ongoing strategies. The idea is, the spaces here can be a starting point, but I don't think we should limit ourselves. And I'll
Mm.
keep on adding to the list the students that we get from Empire State College. I just find, it's the nagging people that's critical. And
Hmm.
everybody's been glad to come. Also, too, for this, I don't know if it would matter too much to you, Bethany, but we had a woman, Meg Benke, who
Oh,
was
yeah.
really big. She was part of the group that brought in Second Life years ago. She's a good grant getter. She's been bumping up and down through the college. Our college has been really crazy because we got a new president. Next thing we know, he's become the president. He's become the chancellor of the SUNY
Right.
system. He
Mm.
jumped in with big policy stuff, and now he's like front and center because he's Mr. COVID. So Meg has bumped back and forth up to acting president, and now I hear she's coming back to faculty. And I know she likes all of this kind of leading edge stuff. And she was big in middle states, and she's very well networked. I'm not, she is. So she might be coming back. She was really pushing iLearn last year, which is kind of what pushed me into it. So I'm hoping she'll bring some more things forward. And I don't know, but wait, Al, you worked with Meg. She's coming back, but it's not clear in what role. And somebody said maybe she'll even be the dean of the graduate department. So anyway, but that's an important strategic thing. But if I do have to leave before you finish, Scott, if I could get a blurb from you, I'll just work month by month and keep on inviting people. But anything that you think, there are so many ways we could go with iLearn. So
Well,
anyway, that's enough from
let's
me.
invite Meg
Turn
to
back.
next week, and if there is a proposal to put forth for a panel discussion or anything like that for iLearn, I don't have the brain capacity right now to pull together another poster submission. Um,
Uh,
but
um,
I think it
Eileen,
would be a good.
go ahead. Sorry.
Well,
I just want to, just a little side note. I don't, Eileen, if you're going to be in touch with Meg at any time soon, um, I had received a friend request, messenger through Messenger on Facebook, from Meg, and I began a conversation, and I soon realized that the person um, who was supposed to be Meg was not Meg. I mean, some of the writing was atrocious. I knew right away this is not a doctor, a PhD. So I emailed Meg, and I have not received back. This was right before the holidays, so I assume that she just was not, paying attention to her work email over the holidays. But she has been hacked, so she should
Mm.
know that.
Oh, good to know. But I will tell you one thing with Meg, she was never a writer. She was brilliant. She was a brilliant networker. She'd be at every meeting, she'd be very quiet, and then at the end, she would jump in and say something brilliant. But she was never a writer. So just because it was poorly written, but if it was more than that, I mean, she certainly would never have been inappropriate. But she was not good at checking
well,
grammar or spelling or
yeah,
anything
my
Well,
like
typing is horrendous. So,
this was not Meg. At some point, they were trying to push some sort of a I don't know, some sort of a group from India. It wasn't her.
oh,
Yeah. Can I
oh, you
interest
have a
you in
million
a?
dollars in a
that. Yeah.
Nigerian bank account.
No,
Yeah.
not quite that, but
Almost.
anyway, she's
But
been hacked.
Al, I saw Google Poly, which makes all these great 3D stuff, is going down. So is
Yep.
Google Expeditions and Google Tour, which concerns me because, I've been trying to, that's easy entry for K-12. And, I've been always kind of pushing that. But do you have any sense of what Google is doing? I also heard they were getting unionized. And I know there's a lot
There,
of money being cut. So You know,
Uh,
any
there's a
go
lot of
ahead.
stuff going on at Google, and they're just not communicating. I have not received a lead from Google since like first week in November. And after about a week or two, I tried getting in touch with the Street View team, and no one has really gotten. Eventually, I use a third-party software called Go Through that is an easy to use tour builder that then they have the Google API, and through Go Through I'm able to post right onto Google these virtual tours. I have not through one of the owners of Go Through, they got back to me and they said uh, they've stopped giving out leads, and I just don't know what the current state or what the future of Street View is going to be for me particularly. But it's obvious that there are a lot of changes going on at Google. They're they're trying to charge for um, the use of the API. There's a whole very complicated payment schedule, and no one could answer, my question as to do I have to now pay for these leads? So I've really not I don't know what's going on, but there are major changes at Google and Google Maps. So um, if I hear anything, I'll certainly share it. But yeah, changes going on.
Yeah, and I just remember when I was at IBM in the 1980s. When I started in the scientific division because I was a chemist, and IBM came out with a computer for labs. And so I came in through the science area. Then they put us out of business. That they put the lab part out of business, and I became part of regular Big Blue. And that was when the PC came out. Like you couldn't, IBM was doing so well that they tried to break it up with the antitrust. And so, but by the end of the 80s, they were, already going under from competition. IBM was told it had to compete, whereas the Macs were, nobody was paying attention to Macs. So
Yeah.
Macs closed their architecture. IBM had to open the architecture. Thus, we have the computer revolution.
Hmm.
But it was still, you know, I've learned from being in technology since the 70s. The one thing you can be sure is that big guys are going to fall, or you just don't know what to believe. So, I'm still here trying to nickel and dime it for students coming into Empire State College. We don't have a lot of money. So, anyway, but um, it's just another one of those foundation places that, I've come to rely on so much. I'm getting worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an interesting year again. Mm.
Yeah, large companies are trying to find new revenue sources, and everybody's been affected by this, so there are surprises and there are reorganizations left and right, and the dust has not quite settled yet. It'll take a
Mm-hmm.
while.
Yeah. Oh no, I think the ripples haven't really even started to be felt.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm even noticing it in the local school. I have friends who are teachers in the local school districts here, and they're looking 2, 3 years out, and so uncertain about where things are going to end up. And as we've talked, it's like, well, we've had to adapt to a lot of very big changes very quickly, and I don't think a lot of these changes are necessarily going to be going away, even once COVID does. So it's going to be a new landscape, that's for sure.
Mm.
Online communications have grown in the last 9 months, and a lot of it is here to stay. People are
Mm-hmm.
realizing, companies are realizing, um, the
You don't
commuting
have to be in an
costs.
office.
You don't have to be in an office, and people are actually more productive and they'll work longer hours. They'll work a few hours,
Yep.
they'll take a break, take care of the kids, do this, do that, and then come back and, work into the evening. And you get a lot more
Mhm.
productivity out of people when, they can they can sort of have control over their schedules a lot more than having, all that schlepping. And
Yeah,
so, and the real estate market the commercial real estate market is going to change in a major way. I mean,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
The need
so
for it is going away. It's also, we've exposed the technology gap
Hmm.
to greater degree than ever before, but this has also forced people to step into the vacuum.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
again, ripples.
I mean it.
Yeah.
I'm
And
going to probably have to take off soon myself here because I'm in a hotel room in Connecticut and still have hours of work to do before a meeting. But
mm.
All right.
Before you
yes,
head out, I just wanted to let you guys know, because I know we started putting down some stuff in the upper left-hand corner of the island. Scott, I know you had some cool presentations. I want to totally grab one of those prims with you had your presentations in Google Slides. I got to totally copy that.
oh yeah,
So I'm like, this is brilliant. But I started putting content down because we talked about, and I just took the liberty of like, I have this cool building and, I'm going to put some stuff there, and I put some pretty waterfalls and I landscape to make it look like, uh, you know, I used to be in real estate, you guys. I was in real estate for about 10 years. I can never let an ocean view go to waste. So got to have so I'm going to have a bonfire, a big circular bonfire, just some nice place to hang out and, areas for exhibits or whatever. But nothing's set in stone. I just wanted to let you know I put some stuff down there in case you're like, who did this? Who's taking
oh, I was
control like
hoping.
she
No,
owns
I
the
clicked
place?
on everything. It all had Bethany Winslow as owner.
I
I
was like, I didn't even email anybody. I was all like, it was just one day where I was like, oh, I said I would I told Al that I had some ideas and Eileen that I would put something there. And I was just like, I'll just throw some stuff down and hope. And yeah, it doesn't have to
No, it looked
stay. I
nice.
just,
I
for an
was
idea.
I was kind of scoping a spot. I said, oh, never mind. I'll just put mine over by my pavilion over there.
I haven't
No, no,
been.
no. I just put stuff down that just to sort of sketch it
Yeah,
out.
on
But
the corner ocean view. Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, yeah, it's still, yeah, it's
The
coming
best
along,
real
but
estate on the island.
it is. It's like, well, we can't just, we don't want to just, yeah, don't want
I
to just
love.
stick a
Yeah.
building on the edge there.
I love that. I have one of those little corner spots on my island, sort of a private area that I could go to, and it's got a beautiful.
Meditation corner.
Yeah. Yes. So I haven't checked it out yet, but I will check it out, and I may help enhance it a little bit.
Yes, please do, because I'm like, I got so much stuff to do with Limeland. I don't even know what to do with it myself. And now I got to go like, oh God, make sure I hope my NPC doesn't break my world.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
just
really
one thing
curious.
we
Send
have
me
to
a link
realize,
to whatever.
there's
Yeah,
an overhead on how long it takes the island to open. And,
yeah.
we really pushed everybody in Empire State College. We've gone what we call open education resources, so they don't have to buy a lot of textbooks. They're supposed to get a good computer, but often they don't have as robust as a computer or internet as you'd like. So it's just a matter of the more you put out, the longer it'll take for the
Mm.
island to open. So just kind of keep that in mind, and you'll notice that yourself. When you go in,
Yeah.
how long it can take to open. Like Salee has wonderful stuff, but
But
her
it
islands
takes
can take
15 minutes to
3 or 4 minutes
open.
to open at
Yeah, it,
times, and then people
Uh,
think they're broken. So that's the downside. But so far, I mean, this island has lots and lots of space for prims, so we shouldn't have any trouble there. And I love it. I was looking. I just have one rogue student who keeps on doing things, and I thought I saw her name there, and it's, oh no, Michelle Francis is at it again, but she's very creative, very artistic. But she's a little crazy, and who knows what she could do. So, but I think that's why I was being a little careful with putting terraforming on for students. But anyway, so I'm going to have to leave before too long. But Scott, if you give me your blurb
I
for,
will.
and I'll start promoting this,
Okay.
and it's always just a matter of promoting things. I find people are really overwhelmed now with too many things to do. So, the
Yeah, that's just
NASDAQ
it.
always
And if
works.
the email headline doesn't have relevant, pertinent, or exciting data in it, it could sit there unopened in my email box until I totally forget about it. So,
mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a key.
I think your subject line always has to be a tweet. I always try to put
Mm-hmm.
things there,
Yeah,
because people don't have time to read it. Maybe they'll see it later when they go back and say, oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, exactly. I'm triaging my emails. So,
yeah.
Mm.
all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is lovely. I will see you all next Wednesday, same time, same channel.
Yep.
Okay.
Alrighty.
And
We're going to be
yeah, if we
ready to
can pull something
learn.
together for iLearn, that'd be great. But if we don't, we'll just be tourists.
But I'll keep thinking about that because I'm gonna do something for myself, but I want multiple colleagues involved, so I will definitely not
Yeah,
let that go. I'll I'll
Yeah,
gotcha.
if you
I'll
can
have
get us,
something. I'll have an idea or something maybe then next week.
Yeah,
oh,
I'll
good.
ride shotgun, so that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I'll show up. Especially if you get a panel, we can all
Yeah,
sit.
yeah. If I could sketch out something like say, hey, I want you guys to let's each talk about this or something. I'll figure something out. I'll look at the, I'll come up with something.
Okay.
Thanks, Bethany.
Okay.
Thank you
All right, you
all.
guys, have a good
Alrighty.
Bye,
one.
everybody.
One
And
thing,
keep
and
giving us beautiful ocean landscapes.
yeah.
Oh, and like I said, the waterfalls, the little thing, that's just something I got, and it's a lot of prim. So literally, nothing has to stay. I just stuck there, so I was like, "Ooh, that's really pretty. I want this pretty, yeah."
Oh, I'll
So,
gift you a few too because I've stolen some of Eileen's waterfalls and I think I still have them in my inventory.
Yeah,
So
oh,
give that
I
Cindy Kelly.
And you have a
oh,
fire?
I've been all for OpenSim, grabbing any good content I could find. I've got like, yeah, it's.
Do you
I
have
know.
a fire, a bonfire? Because I have one on my own. I could certainly.
Oh,
yeah,
I
if
could
you
totally go. Yeah, I don't have a bonfire. In fact, I need one for Limelins,
All
and so
right.
put one down or give one to me. That'd be great.
I'll throw
Marion
one
Test
down.
right now has a bonfire. It's so ugly. I made it flat and just put stuff that I found. It's got no aesthetic to it. And when I even say that, I have to use pre-made islands because I have no eye. But I think there's some bonfires there too, a couple of them.
Okay.
So anyway, um,
Yeah. All right,
okay.
ladies
Well,
and
I'm
gentlemen,
gonna go.
have a good week.
Alrighty.
Have a good week, everybody.
You as
See
well.
you guys later.
Bye
Yeah.
bye now.
Bye.
Bye bye all.
Bye.